For our apple pie, Crescent cookies, and applesauce, we're going to need some apples. So today I'm here at Apple Annie visiting my friend Emma to get some delicious local apples. Hey Emma.
Hey Alicia.
How are you?
Great. Welcome to Apple Annie.
Thanks. I'm here to get some apples for some cookies and some applesauce. Can you help?
We can. So this is a Cortland apple and it's really great for cooking and baking. It's a firm apple and it won't break down easily, so it holds shape and will just taste really good in a pie or cookies. And this is a Macintosh apple. It's a softer apple, so it breaks down really well and has a very smooth and fine texture. It's also kind of sweet, so people prefer it for applesauce.
Great, I'll take some Cortlands and some Macintosh then.
Great.
Thanks so much. Alright, so let's get started making the dough for our crust. Usually you use all-purpose flour, but today we're putting a little bit of a healthier option in and using half whole wheat flour. So in total you need 2½ cups, 1 1/4 cup of the whole wheat flour, 1 1/4 cup of the all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, regular table salt, and then you'll use some really cold water, measure out 1/2 cup of water. And lastly, we'll use 2 sticks of unsalted butter, make sure that's really cold too, and cut that up into small pieces and you're good to go. For our crust, we'll make sure that we mix together the flour, sugar, and salt, and make sure that's all mixed together very well. Then we'll add the butter and mix that together until the butter breaks down to about the size of a pea. You'll know that it's ready when it's all incorporated. So as you can see, they're little small sizes. The butter's broken down enough. Then we'll take our ice cold water and add it to the mixture and use our spatula to combine it until the water is all incorporated. So as you can see, it looks like it's pretty much ready. So we're going to get our hands in there and incorporate all of the dough together. And then we'll wrap our dough in the plastic wrap, pop it in the refrigerator for about an hour, work on our filling, and then we can make our cookies. While our dough is in the refrigerator for about an hour, let's get the filling ready. We'll be using 1/3 cup of granulated sugar, a teaspoon of freshly ground cinnamon, a few gratings of a fresh nutmeg, and also just a few shakes of allspice. You're going to want to preheat the oven to about 350 degrees and then we'll get the filling ready. So we're adding our sugar, freshly ground cinnamon, a little pinch of allspice, and our freshly grated nutmeg. Mixing it together. This recipe calls for 3 Cortland apples, so you make sure that you wash the apples first, peel them, and then slice them about 1/8 inch thick. So now we'll get our 3 Cortland apples here and start peeling and slicing. Or 1/8 inch thick. Now that our apples are sliced, we're going to put them in this bowl here. Put a little bit of lemon on so they don't brown. Cover it up, pop them in the fridge, and check on our dough and see if it's ready. So we just took the dough out of the refrigerator, and now we're going to flour our surface. Make sure there's enough flour so it doesn't stick. And we'll start rolling here. And when you're rolling, you want to make sure that you roll from the center out. So you always start in the center and make your way out. You might need to flip it as well, so make sure that you're going evenly here. Put a little bit more flour underneath so it doesn't stick. And when your dough is nice and cold, this will be really easy. If it's not cold enough, stick it back in maybe the freezer for about 2 minutes. You'll know if it's not cold enough. So you can see our dough is ready to be cut. So find either a cookie cutter or you can just use a regular cup, and we'll start cutting the circles. Now that our circles are cut, we're going to get them off of the counter and pop them back in the freezer because you really need to make sure the dough is cold enough, otherwise it's going to be frustrating to work with. Now that our discs are ready, we're going to mix our apples with the cinnamon. And once the cinnamon is mixed with the apples, we're going to take a little paintbrush here and we're going to paint our half of the discs with the water. That'll help seal the cookie together when we start crimping. And then we'll be putting the apples in. Use your best judgment as to how much apples to put in here. It'll take a little bit of experimentation here. So folding it over. Sort of press down on the apples so they get spread out. You use the egg wash to go over the top. So getting the fork with some flour here, making our crimped edges. And then just a little sprinkle of sugar. So our oven is preheated to 350. All we need to do is pop the cookies in for 25 minutes. A healthy way to use apples is to make some applesauce. So here we have 6 Macintosh apples from Apple Annie, about a cup of water, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. Heat the stove up to about medium heat, put everything in the pot, and you've got applesauce ready to go. Sorry. So you might be wondering at this point, why didn't she peel the apples? Well, the skin is packed with nutrients, so that's why I left it on. Alright, so now we're ready to put the water in. So we have about a cup of water, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, depending on the size of your pan. We'll cover it up. Put it on about medium heat. The applesauce is going to take about 25 minutes. Check on it occasionally and don't forget to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Ooh, it smells really good. Just mix it up a little bit. And that's all there is to it. I don't even need to tell you to enjoy these cookies. You just will. Appley, buttery goodness. Melt in your mouth cookies. Mmm. Tastes like freedom. And don't forget to live free and cook.